I believe that the union between me and that person will be much stronger if we have a commitment between each other that's very strong before we have a child. And I think that would be good for the long term for the success of the child. So I still believe that there's still good women out, out and about. I do believe it. It's still true. And we can't deny that social media and, a lot of things that we're perceiving online may be devaluing what a good man or a good woman is.
Okay, Dr. John, you said you're the only one in your family became successful, right?
Correct.
Okay. But being successful or having degrees and having money don't mean you have core values, correct?
I agree.
So a lot of people constitute that on education. I have money, but that also could make them a bad individual. Like you could be missing a lot of opportunity because now that you might be a woman. Okay, we're gonna base it on this. I hear a lot of women every day that I deal with that making six figures say they ain't gonna mess with no dude who working at Walmart. They ain't gonna mess with no dude at Chick-fil-A. But we will do that. So they might be missing an opportunity to find a good man who might just not be on the same level as them at that time. Because I went through the same factors. It was a lot of women who wouldn't deal with me when I came out of prison. But they didn't realize that I was the ultimate hustler. I just had to get back on my feet. Now that they realize that I'm a seven figure individual, now here they come. But I don't want to because you would value everything on money. You didn't value me as an individual. And like with women, we are visual individuals. So before a man realizes a woman is not a good lady, it might be too late because he done fell in love with the beauty, the body, like Heinz said. So I hear these young little guys, and a lot of times they base it on why it's not a lot of good women out here because the women do a lot of the same things that the young men do. They're at the bar, they're at the strip club, they getting high with them, they drinking with them. So they constitute that because if you a man, like that turns me off. No ladies, no, I ain't being disrespect nobody, but if I see a woman always out drinking and drunk or getting high with everybody, that's the ultimate turnoff for me. So what do you think about that, Muscle Nova?
I want to first reply to your question where you said that there are lots of single mothers within this community. Now, why is that? I will reply. The reason for that is the men are running through these ladies. They are running through them. They are leaving them as single mothers. And some of these men, they say they want a good woman. But they say they want a good woman, but beauty standards apply. Some of these women, they don't fit their criteria. Some of these so-called good women, they may not be all that attractive, but they may carry the personality traits, the traditional role, the submissive role, right? So some of these men, they have requirements. Some of these women, they don't fit the requirement standard, right? The men say they want good women. There are good women out there within this community. And yes, lots of young men, they are saying they cannot find the good woman here, so they want to go overseas. But they fail to realize that the women overseas, they still want the same things that the women want here.
Right.
So there are good women here within this community. Why are they single? Because they're being run through by these said men within this community. And these said men within this community, they need to not only look for the beauty standards of the woman, but they need to look within. They need to look within. They need to look within the personalities. They need to look within and make sure that these women carry the traditional roles. And we, as the older generation, we need to guide them, redirect them, teach them to have morals and values. Teach the younger women to carry traditional roles, to be submissive. We need to teach them.
Well, it kind of too late in the game for me to try to teach a woman how morals and character when she's 35, 40, 45, 50 years old. Because don't forget, these communities are so small now. With social media, people can go anywhere around this country for $150 on Spirit. And a lot of men basing the women character also on how many bodies they have, how much sex they have, how many dudes they've been with, how many multiple baby fathers have. So that's why a lot of guys are looking at women in a different light. So what do you think about that, Hindsight? Can you hear me, Hindsight?
Can you ask Ohio because I can't really hear you.
I'm sorry. I said a lot of these men are basing women character on because they're getting high, they're smoking, and plus they have multiple baby fathers and they have a lot of bodies. Body men had a lot of sex partners. Because don't forget, these communities are so small now that you can find out about anybody in your community, even anybody cynical. I know how we think. When I say a good man, if that man gonna be a great provider, if he's gonna be a great father, he's gonna be a great leader in the community. He's going to be a great husband. Is he God or spiritual? Is he trying to continue to build a family up? Will he not be a cheater? And I haven't met too many black men that I know that haven't cheated on their wives. And I'm just keeping it real. So the women, like Dr. John said, and you said also, brother, the women don't have a great group of men to pick from either. So it ain't just the women. So a lot of these men are poisoning their damn self, so it's gonna be hard for you young ladies.
Hey, actually, I want to add that the last stats I've been looking at, the last .orgs and .govs, it says that 48% of men in the United States, black men in the United States, are fatherless. They don't have any children and never been married. 48%. When we look at the stats on the percentages of black children that are being born in the United States in the last 10 to 12 years, from what I've seen on the .orgs and the .govs, it says that 68% of those children are being born single parent households.
Mm-hmm.
So
now, when you say single parent household, you talking about the man raising the child or the mother raising the child?
That's correct.
So the mother raising the child.
Just 68% in general, out of all the black children that have been born in the United States in the last, let's say, decade and a half, it's been 68% of those children have been born in single parent households. So
can we break it a little bit?
Well,
if I may, we also should take into consideration anyone who is unwed is technically considered unmarried according to when they're taking those stats. So we want to be very careful with how we use stats because correlation does not always equal causation.
Yes.
So like they like those couples, even though they're considered single because they're not married, they could still be cohabitating.
Correct. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
We walk a very weird line with that when we use stats. So
right.
I just
that's a good one.
But we also have to take in consideration that there are lots of single mothers raising men in this society. And what is happening? When a woman raises a man, this said man, he goes out there when he's looking for his significant other, he's looking for a mother figure. And what is he looking for this woman to do for him? The things, the nurture and the nature the mother used to take care of him. That's what he's looking for. And majority of the time, these women, they say, we are not your mothers. We are not going to do the things that your mother did for you. So what is happening is a woman can raise a man, but it takes a man to teach a man how to become a man. Am I wrong?
I agree.
I agree. 100%. Okay, we're going to do this. I'm going to apologize to any woman on here that think any man on this format was disrespectful because that wasn't our debate, trying to be disrespectful. And we're going to go from Dr. John up and everybody in the closing because I got to make some run. But like I said, I appreciate everybody coming on here. And I'm going to tell every young man on here, if you said it's not no good women out here, you got to look in the mirror and look at yourself first. Like Vaughn said, once you look at yourself first and you process that you're a good man, trust me, God gonna bring you a good woman. So I'm gonna let Dr. John go and everybody going up.
Hey, well, I just want to say I've enjoyed the conversation, and I definitely have no desire to disrespect for anybody on the panel.
Right.
And That's why I practice self-control and emotional control, emotional intelligence, because I value what everyone has to say. And I'm looking for different perspectives so I can look at things in a different light also. And I'm not saying I'm perfect at all. I'm just saying that I observed my surroundings growing up and I looked at what I wanted for my life and I emulate that. That's why I've never had kids and I haven't been married because I haven't found that right one. So I value what women bring to the table. But what I'm saying is from what I've gathered from looking, scrolling through the TikToks and being in some of the panels that I've been in, I'm hearing men saying that they want a woman that has those qualifications, like having the high degrees of success and making a lot of money. But they're also saying that that is not on the top of the list. And, the top of our list is we are visual creatures. So we
find themselves a good woman because they are not vetting properly. They are looking at the outward appearance of these ladies. They are not looking at the characteristic traits. Because firstly, how do you find a good woman or how do you find a good man? The receptacle of your question. You vet properly. And we as individuals, we are not taking accountability, because what is happening is we enter into relationships with these toxic individuals. Children are being birthed from these toxic relationships. And then now we have a generation of hurt individuals not having any forms of therapeutic help, psychological help. And now we are in this state of being, whereas broken homes, we have broken homes from, which is a negative effect. And then we have lots of hurt individuals coming on social media and spewing, there are no good women, there are no good men. We all need to take accountability. What do we need to do? We need to vet properly. We don't need to look at, yes, attraction is good, but at the same time, we need to look for red flags. We need to look and study the individual we are courting or dating. We need to go back to the old time days, take some of these values and morals which were taught to us, use them, and try to make better choices rather than just looking at the girl who looks all pretty and not looking at her personality, not looking at the red flags. The red flags are there. And I'm telling you, they are there, but they try to, they get blindsided by the looks, by the appearance.
But you correct, Muscle. But don't forget, a lot of young men never seen a good woman a day in their life. They inherited bad mothers. And we're going to talk about the man later, but if you never seen a good woman in your life, you don't know what a good woman is. I was blessed to have great, exceptional women in my life all my life. My little sister, which is my baby sister, she more like my mom, because my mother did. My grandparents did. I had great grandparents as women. I got great aunties as women. So I know how to pick and choose women. I had 3 baby mothers. And all of my children's mother are great, exceptional women. I never put them down. I would never talk bad about them because I still love them as human beings, and I love them, my children's mother, because they showed me the value of a woman. Even though we was young when I made these bad decisions and choices to have children, but they showed me through the evolution of them that they still conquered everything they needed to conquer with a child. They went to school, they educated themselves, they had great jobs, and they also took care of the household. So me finding a good woman is easy. When we start hearing the young men say, why ain't no good women, we got to break down the root of what the problem is, why is not a good crop of young, great women left. So what do you think about that, Dr. Ja?
So I agree with what Muscle just said. And vetting, I believe, is a very important factor in making your assessment on if there are any good, viable options out there. Because, vetting is how you filter the kind of people that, you know, women, or I'm saying women in particular, we're talking about right now, that exemplify what you're looking for. You know, some factors like, you know, how does she manage her money? How does she spend her time? You know, is she doing things that are productive, or is she doing, you know, the weekend trips out with the girls every single weekend? Of course, we understand that everybody likes to have recreational fun and, you know, actually, you know, let the hair down. But is that a repeat every weekend? You know, is she actually valuing trying to find a good man, someone that's going to protect, someone that's going to provide for her, someone that has a circle around them that's very supportive and has good values and morals?
Okay, we're gonna add hindsight. Before we go on, will everybody please tap the screen multiple times? Because we got 49 people in here right now, and it's great because this is a great topic. And hindsight, like we said, a man don't know the value of a woman if he never seen a good woman. And we gotta break the narrative of why these young black men in our community don't think there's any great women out there. So what are they going through, and what are they seeing to make these young men feel there's no more great women left? Because we know we all might be on here old school. I'm almost 60, so I've seen a lot of great women, and I still know what a great woman is. But a lot of young kids never seen greatness when it come out of a black woman in their life. So why you think they like that, and what you think? What do you think the problem is? Why they feel there are no more great women?
I wanted to first say, when you were saying that you had positive women in your life, and I definitely understand that. I think that you can learn a lot by seeing your grandparents and your mothers, but at the same time, you got to you got to tread very lightly when we say that, because the Oedipal complex does exist, and that means that, you know, when you're younger, you see how great your grandparents and your moms are, and then you put what their love is like on a pedestal, and then you expect every woman to try and be very similar to them, and no woman is ever going to love you the same
No. Hold on,
way.
hindsight.
They're not going to do the same.
Let me say some hindsight. That ain't what I mean. No, that ain't what. So I'm not making a comparison in my relationship. I'm just saying, if I see a mother that taking care of household, taking care of responsibility, that's what I base it on. If I see a mother who never with a child, and I know my mother with a child every day, you know, or you see a man who never with his kid, but he wanted to be in a relationship with you, had kids, most likely he's not going to be a good father to your child also. I'm not basing it on that. I'm going to make a comparison, but I just had a good, you know, a good structure in the household where I know what a good mother is. I had a bad structure in the household where a father is. We can talk on that also. So go ahead, hindsight.
Yeah, but I just wanted to make that, because what tends to happen is men are like, oh, I want a woman that's like my mom. She did this, this, and this. And I'm like, you can't compare women to your mom. Your mom loved you in a different way. So I want to put that out there first, because that's one of the mistakes that even girls make, because the Electra complex is out there for girls. So put that out there. But I also think that a lot of young men also surround themselves with other individuals who may not necessarily have their same ideals when they're younger, right? And then when they get older, they find individuals who are more like-minded of what they're looking for. So I think that's also one of the things that I've seen with a lot of men, not only, you know, like Dr. Ja, I'm also a doctor as well. So like, I see that a lot with young men and women. You surround yourself with people who may not have the same ideas as you grow, but you still keep them around. And that's prohibits your growth on actually finding a partner, because they're not looking for the same thing you are.
Absolutely.
And then I think that, you know, for a lot of people who say, oh, there aren't good men or women out there, it's not just about the vetting, because you can also, even if you didn't see something positive, or you didn't have great interactions with your parents to see what good relationships look like, you can also learn from the negative ones. I also often hear great fathers say, my father was never in my life, so I do everything opposite of what I didn't receive. So I'm doing the things that I wanted my father to do for me, for my kids. And I think that people need to look at dating the same way, of saying, if I didn't see my mom or my father have healthy relationships, I don't want my relationships to look like that. So I'm going to do the exact opposite of what I saw. in order to produce a better relationship. And I don't think people really look at it that way. They just look at the negative things, and that's what they kind of view their lens from. And if they look from like the lens that I'm doing everything opposite of what I saw because it just didn't look good to me, then they have better outcomes.
Okay, you can have the best leaders in your household. You can have the best instruction. You can have the best people in your life that you want to look up to for a relationship, and you still can be an F-off in a relationship. You still can be a bad person. You still can be abusive. You still can be a whoremonger. So it still relays back on the individual. So what I'm saying, these are the young gentleman mindset right now. It got to be something in society that we're not seeing that these guys are seeing for them to sit there and say these young ladies are not mother or wife qualities. Because you look at the generation now, from the age of 18 to 35, a lot of the African-American women are single. So why do a lot of the young guys do not want to be in a relationship, and they constantly saying the same thing? Like we always say, these kids are out of control. These kids are out of control. So why the man saying the same thing like we always say about the situation with the kids being out of control? So back to you, Dr. Ja.
So when I look at, answering this question, and I liked what Hindsight had to say, yes, I 100% agree with, someone may not have had the right mother or the father in the home. And for instance, use myself for example. I grew up in a single parent household, and none of my brothers and sisters really excelled in life like I did. But it wasn't just about the teachings in my household. It was about what I saw and what I valued that was, going to be at the best value in my life. And so that's what inspired me. I didn't want to be the average, man that's out there that, may have a baby before being out of, leaving high school. And, I had a blueprint, at the back of my mind. I don't want to, because I saw when I was young, I saw, couples who got divorced and, had kids, and, it was a lot of turmoil in the child's life, both the parents and the child inherited some of those bad circumstances. And,